You're strolling through a sun-drenched field, golden wheat swaying in the breeze, and bam, you stumble upon an intricate pattern, a design so complex it seems almost impossible. And it wasn't there yesterday. That's the enigma of crop circles, folks. For decades, they've fueled debates about aliens, hoaxes, and everything in between. Today, we're diving deep into this mystery with excerpts from Crop Circles, Hoax, or Alien Communication. Buckle up, because it's going to be a wild ride.
You know what I find fascinating is that this isn't just some modern-day fad. Our source material takes us way back to 1686.
1686? Seriously?
Yeah, 1686. Can you imagine farmers finding these patterns centuries before Photoshop, even before photography? It really makes you wonder what was going on back then.
It's mind-boggling. But it sounds like things really took off in the 1970s, especially in England, right?
Absolutely. And by the 80s, crop circles were front-page news, appearing all over the globe. Imagine Wiltshire, England, home to Stonehenge, already shrouded in ancient mystery, becomes a hotspot for these formations. It's like someone or something was drawn to that energy, you know?
Okay, but let's be real for a second. Some of these have got to be man-made, right?
Yeah, you're right. In 1991, two guys, Doug Bauer and Dave Turley, came forward and admitted to creating a bunch of these circles. They even showed everyone how they did it. Surprisingly simple, really. Planks, ropes, a little ingenuity.
So, mystery solved.
Well, not so fast. While their confession definitely debunked some of the hype, it also kind of made things even more complicated. See, people started trying to replicate these designs, and while some were fairly straightforward, others, especially those popping up from the late 80s onwards, those were different. Even experienced hoaxers had a tough time explaining the complexity and precision of those.
That's what gets me, those laser straight lines, those intricate patterns. It's almost like too perfect, you know? And our source even mentioned the cases where the crops weren't just flattened, they were woven together, bent at the stem without breaking. That takes a level of precision that seems, well, almost impossible.
Exactly. And then there are the reports of bizarre electromagnetic readings near these formations. It's as if something unexplainable is happening, something that goes beyond simple pranks or our understanding of physics.
Okay, now you've got me hooked. Let's talk about some of those head-scratcher cases, the ones even skeptics have a hard time dismissing. You mentioned a few during prep that really make you wonder, what if there's something more to this?
There are a couple that really stand out even today. One of the most compelling is the Arecibo message circle from 2001. Imagine this. A near-perfect replica of a message that we, humans, beamed into space back in 1974, suddenly appears in a field. It's like someone or something intercepted our cosmic message in a bottle and sent one right back.
Wow, that's a conversation starter for sure. Okay, I have to know more. What made this formation so unique, and how did people react to it?
It wasn't just some, crude copycat thing. The Arecibo message circle, it took elements of the original message but kind of rearranged them, added new layers to it. It's like whoever or whatever created it was acknowledging our attempt at communication but adding their own 2 cents to the conversation. Some researchers even speculated that it might be like a form of dialogue, a way of saying, message received, and here's our reply.
Whoa, that gives me chills. It's like straight out of a sci-fi movie. But this actually happened. Are there any other formations that come close to this level of detail?
There's another one, the honeycomb circle. This was in 2002. A gigantic honeycomb pattern, but so incredibly precise and intricate, it's like mind-blowingly perfect. This wasn't just bending some stalks. It was like someone used a protractor and a laser cutter on the field, you know?
It's hard to imagine how anyone could pull that off, especially in the dark. It's like those guys, Bauer and Chorley, suddenly became master artists overnight.
Right, and that's what's so fascinating about these cases. They really push the limits of what we think is humanly possible, leaving us to consider, what if there's more to it?
So let's say, just for a second, that some of these aren't elaborate hoaxes. What are the other explanations?
Well, one of the more, shall we say, out there theories is that these circles, or at least some of them, are a form of alien communication. The idea is that advanced civilizations might be using our planet as a giant message board, leaving behind signs and symbols that we're just beginning to understand.
It's definitely a mind-bending thought, but it makes you wonder, if an alien civilization was trying to get our attention, wouldn't they choose a method that's visually striking, universally understood, like geometric patterns, a language that transcends words, right?
Exactly. And that's why a lot of people who believe this theory point to the complexity of some of the formations, the mathematical precision. They believe these patterns might contain coded information, maybe even scientific principles that we haven't even discovered yet.
I have to admit, that's a little terrifying and exciting at the same time. But for argument's sake, let's say ET isn't phoning home through our wheat fields. What are some of the other explanations out there?
Some researchers believe that crop circles could be a manifestation of natural Earth energies, like ley lines, those supposed alignments of ancient sites and natural formations, or even fluctuations in the Earth's magnetic field somehow leaving their mark on the field.
Yeah, so not little green men, but Mother Earth herself expressing herself through these intricate designs. I kind of like that idea. It's almost like these formations are visual representations of the planet's hidden energy.
Exactly. And as far-fetched as it might seem, there's been some scientific research that makes you wonder. Agronomists, the folks who study crops, have observed some pretty strange things about plants taken from crop circles. In some cases, the seeds were growing at an accelerated rate or producing more seeds than plants outside the circles.
Wait, so it's like these plants got a supercharge from whatever created the circles? That's wild. What about those weird electromagnetic readings people keep talking about? Is there any truth to that?
That's another one where the research is interesting, but not exactly conclusive. Researchers have definitely found some strange electromagnetic fluctuations near some formations. Think like your compass going haywire, or your phone battery draining super fast.
Okay, that's kind of spooky. It's like stepping into an invisible energy field or something. Wait, what could explain that?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? One theory is that whatever is creating these formations, whether it's a natural phenomenon or something else entirely, it might leave behind an electromagnetic signature, like a cosmic fingerprint, hinting at forces we don't quite understand.
It's like we're putting together a puzzle, but we're missing a lot of the pieces. Even with all the mystery surrounding them, there's no denying that crop circles have really captured our imaginations. I mean, think about it. In our movies, our books, our TV shows.
Absolutely. They've become a symbol of the unknown, a visual representation of all the mysteries that are still out there. And honestly, I think that's what makes them so compelling. They remind us that even in our modern world, with all our technology and advancements, there are still things we just don't understand.
It's humbling, isn't it? We think we have it all figured out, and then something like this comes along and challenges everything we thought we knew.
You got it. And that's the beauty of it all. It's about embracing the mystery, acknowledging that there are forces at play in this universe that we may never fully comprehend.
So where does that leave us? We've talked about the history, the hoaxes, some pretty wild theories, the science, even the cultural impact. But I think the biggest question remains, what's the answer? Are crop circles elaborate pranks, natural phenomena, or something else entirely?
The million-dollar question, right? Unfortunately, there's no easy answer, but maybe that's kind of the point. Maybe the real value in exploring these mysteries isn't about finding definitive answers, but about keeping our minds open to possibilities.
I like that a lot. Keeps things interesting, right? So as we wrap up our deep dive into crop circles, what's the takeaway? What should our listeners be thinking about as they wander through maybe a field themselves, looking up at the sky every now and then?
I think the biggest thing to remember is that while plenty of crop circles are probably just really, really well done pranks or, art projects, there are some that just defy explanation. Maybe it's humans being more creative and clever than we give them credit for, pushing the boundaries of art and, good old-fashioned mischief making.
Or maybe.
It's a glimpse into something we don't fully grasp yet, something that suggests there are forces, intelligences, something beyond what we currently understand.
It's like that saying, right? The universe is not only stranger than we imagine, it's stranger than we can imagine.
Exactly. And sometimes the best we can do is just appreciate that, keep asking questions, and maybe, just maybe, be open to the idea that we're not alone in this vast and incredible universe.
I love that. Well, there you have it, folks. We've journeyed from simple hoaxes to some pretty mind-blowing possibilities, all within the strange world of crop circles.
It's been a pleasure diving deep into this with you.
The pleasure was all ours. And to our listeners, until next time, keep looking up, keep your minds open, and who knows, maybe you'll stumble across a message from the stars yourself. Or a really, really talented group of artists with a lot of time and a really big field. Either way, it's bound to be fascinating.